What's up everyone and welcome back to Reload Reacts. My name is Trey and today we are going to look through r/MaliciousCompliance, the subreddit for those who are technically following all of their given directions, but not the spirit of what they actually mean. This first post is by Unlimited Patience. You don't want a woman working on your car? That's fine, but you're going to be waiting a long time. Many years ago, I worked at a car dealership. The attached service garage was small and I was the only licensed mechanic. I would occasionally have issues with male customers. They would second guess my diagnoses, watch me while I worked on their cars from the bay door, double check my work in the parking lot, etc. I didn't deal with customers directly and would often get my apprentice to pull cars in and out of the shop for me. This morning in particular, we were busy. The lot jockey and apprentice were occupied helping wash cars for delivery and driving to a customer's house. The service advisor left a work order and keys at the parts counter, and I went out the front through service to get the car. It was in for a service campaign, which was an update done with a scan tool. It takes about 10 minutes. The customer was planning on waiting and was sitting in service. When he saw me with his keys in my hand, he immediately stood up alarmed. I was hustling, so I walked right by him and out the door. I missed the following conversation according to my service advisor, also female. Customer: who is that chick? Is she going to be working on my car? I don't want her working on my car. Advisor: the other tech is out at the moment, so it's going to be quite a wait until someone else can look at your car. That's fine, I'll wait for a guy. I don't want that chick touching my car. A politely: understood. The advisor comes to let me know and I pull the car out and put the work order and keys back on the counter nonplussed. Half an hour passes. The apprentice is still away and I am happily working on something else, bringing other cars in and out. The customer is now watching each and every person who comes through the door. The high school co-op student comes in to get something signed. The customer's keys are still sitting on the desk. It's been about an hour now. Hey, why hasn't my car gone in yet? Can't you get this guy to do it? No, sorry, he's just a co-op student, so he's not allowed to drive the cars due to liability and insurance concerns. Just get someone else to bring the car in, and he can do the work. This was supposed to take 10 minutes. Sorry sir, he's just a high school student doing his co-op. He's not approved to perform warranty work. Only licensed techs and apprentices can do the recall. The car jockey returns. The advisor hands the car jockey a different set of keys, and he brings yet another car into the shop for me. The customer is becoming incensed. I've been sitting here for over an hour and I've watched 5 cars go in before mine. My appointment was for 8 AM, this is getting ridiculous, blah blah blah. At this point he says he literally doesn't care who does the recall, but that it has to be a guy. The service advisor starts listing off the names of men who work in the dealership, then saying why they can't perform the recall. Well, there's Herman, but he's just the car jockey. He doesn't know how to work on cars. Then there's Jeet, but he's about 17. I wouldn't want him doing the recall personally. I guess we could ask Mike, but Mike is the parts guy. He doesn't know how to use the scan tool. These detailers are men, but they know nothing about cars. The customer is fuming at this point and demands to talk to the service manager. The manager comes out of his office and guides the customer into the garage. He's pretty old school, lights up a cigarette standing at the end of my bay and points at me. That's my best technician. Those guys take orders from her. You can either wait for her to finish what she's working on and then you can ask if she's still willing to do your work, or you can take your car somewhere else. The guy was pretty shook up at this point and he took his car and left. 2 hours after he'd first arrived. I don't think we ever saw him again, which was not much of a loss all things considered. That manager in particular always stuck up for me and took my side. The service advisor has this very deadpan sense of humour. She knew full well that it would easily be an hour before the apprentice would return from his errand, and that no one else could do the recall. This was not the first sexist we had encountered. Thanks for reading. The top comment reads, "He can't fix the car. How the hell can he determine who can? Don't pay an expert and try to second guess them." Exactly. Regardless of gender or whatever, it doesn't matter. If they're an expert, they're an expert. This next post is by Right-Handed Ranger. Boss says if you're 1 minute late, I'm docking 15 minutes from your time. Gets mad when I don't work the 15 minutes I was docked for free. This happened about 4 years ago. I do construction and we start fairly early. Boss got tired of people walking in at 6:05 or 6:03 where we start at 6, even though he was a few minutes late more consistently than any of us were. So he said, "If you aren't standing in front of me at 6 o'clock when we start, then I'm docking 15 minutes from your time for the day." The next day I accidentally forgot my tape measure in my car and had to walk back across the job site to grab it. Made it in at 6:01. Boss chewed me out and told me he was serious yesterday and docked me 15 minutes. So I took all my tools off right there and sat down on a bucket. He asked why I wasn't getting to work and I said I'm not getting paid until 6:15, so I'm not doing any work until 6:15. I enjoy what I do, but I don't do it for free. He tried to argue with me about it until I said, "If you're telling me to work without paying me, then that's against the law. You really want to open the company and yourself up to that kind of risk? Maybe I'm the kind to sue. Maybe I'm not. But if you keep telling me to work after you've docked my time, then we're going to find out one way or the other." He shut up pretty quickly after that, and everyone else saw me do it and him cave. So now they weren't going to take his seat either. Over the next few days, guys that would have been 1 or 2 minutes late just texted the boss, "Hey, sorry boss, would have been there at 6:02 and gotten docked. So I'll see you at 6:15 and I'll get to work then." And then sat in their cars until 6:15 and came in when their time started. So between people doing what I did or just staying in their cars instead, he lost a ton of productivity and morale because he decided that losing 15 minutes of productivity per person and feeling like a big man was better than losing literally 1 or 2 minutes of productivity. Even though everyone stands around BSing and getting material together for the day until about 6:10 anyway. After a few weeks of that, he got chewed out by his boss over the loss of productivity and how bad the doc timesheets were looking, and reflected poorly on him as a leader because we were missing deadlines over it, and it showed that he doesn't know how to manage his people. And then suddenly his little self-implemented policy was gone and we all worked like we were supposed to and caught back up fairly quickly. Work solidarity for the win. Not one person took his C and worked that time for free after he tried to swing his weight around on them. But obviously I was a target after that, and only made it 2 more months before he had stacked up enough BS reasons to get away with firing me when I called in a few days in a row after my mum fell and I took off work to take care of her and monitor her for a while during the day. This next post is by JazzB54. "You don't want veggies in your chicken soup? Got it, kids. Kids are awesome at malicious compliance, but it is a two-way street, winky face. My kids can be picky eaters at times. My wife made some damn good chicken soup, but the kids were complaining that there were veggies in their chicken soup. They hate veggies, veggies made them sick. And they wanted my wife to pick them out of the soup. We tried to tell them that good chicken soup needs veggies to taste good, but they were being stubborn. I'm sure other parents can understand. I told the kids, if you really hate the taste of veggies, I'll make soup tomorrow, and you guys can make sure I only put in the stuff you like. They liked that idea at the time. The next day I get the pot filled with water, all the typical soup ingredients out, and gathered the kids. I asked for their approval on every item. Chicken? Yes. Salt? Yes. Black pepper? No. Gross, too spicy. Celery? No. I can't even stand the smell. Onions? No. It went on with that, with them rejecting parsley, bay leaves and other veggies. The total contents of the pot ended up being chicken, water, salt and noodles. After the soup was done cooking, I served it up and they excitedly started to eat. A few funny faces later, and one of them said, "It tastes weird, it isn't very good." I said, "But I only put in everything you guys approved. I think from now on, I should make the soup, right?" They looked at each other and said, "Can we have mum's soup instead?" Since that day, they haven't complained about finding veggies mixed in the food. Sure, they almost always eat around a carrot or green pea, but they understand that it adds flavour. That was a really good lesson to teach your children. I really like the way he did that. W father moment. This next post is by NSN242. What do you mean I can't drive my car? I've been a mechanic my entire working life so far, and this is one of my favourite experiences. I had a customer come in and complain about a vibration. I put the vehicle on lift and checked the front end. I found a nearly broken tie rod and a faulty rack and pinion. So basically the passenger side front wheel was not fully secured to the steering system and would soon break and cause the wheel to be completely disconnected from the steering. I told the customer how much the repair would be and told her that it was unsafe to drive. She asked me to put it back together so she could leave. I told her that I could not do that because if it broke after I let her leave, I could be held liable. She started yelling and screaming about calling the cops and suing me, and how her cousin's brother knows a guy who's related to the chief of police and I'll be arrested. She calls the cops and they come out. I showed the officer the vehicle and they understood the safety concern. They told me to just put the car down and let her leave. I did, and even made her sign a statement declining crucial safety repairs. She left with the most "haha I told you so" smug grin on her face, until she left the property, got pulled over, and her car impounded. They also gave her a ticket for reckless driving. I was so happy seeing her car get towed. Edit for clarification. The cops told her it was against the law to drive it. The state laws back then allowed me to do exactly what I did. I offered to discount the price of the repair and take payments, but she still refused. And I don't care how well versed you think you are in the law, you don't know when or where this took place. The top comment reads, "Was it the same cops that told you to release the car waiting just off the property to impound the car? Or was it more coincidence?" Same cops. They pulled out of the parking lot right beside her. That's so funny. They told her it was against the law, she drove it anyway, so they instantly arrested her. That's insane. But also really funny and so deserved. This next post is by A. Ray Venn. "Sorry ma'am, of course your son can try the 7M shoe hot sauce. I work in a hot sauce store in a busy outlet mall. We're a well-liked locally owned business and have many loyal return customers, but at this particular location, we also get a lot of tourists who are curious about our challenge items or Hot Ones products. We have a large variety of samples available every day, like literally 100 hot sauces, 50 plus barbecue/wing sauces just out on the table, and we can pull another 50 plus bottles or so from the fridge if one's open. Every so often we get the people who come into the store and ask to try the hottest sauce. They love jalapenos in their burritos and have eaten habaneros straight, and they're ready to enter the ring, swallow some sauce and gain the admiration of a couple friends and bystanders at the cost of a stomachache. We usually try to guide them to the 10th hottest sauce in the store, burn them with it, and move on to something mild or medium suited to their taste. Today, while I was selling items to people who were actually paying for things, a 10 or so year old boy enters the store. I always get wary when children enter the store alone because it is full of glass bottles. They usually dart straight for the shelves and pick something up. But this child came barreling towards me like a bullet. While I make change for the couple buying some sauce, he calls out to me, "Excuse me," in a horrendous whiny pitch. I ignore the rude interruption and continue my conversation with my customers. He parrots it again 12 times or so back to back as I thank these people and get them out of the store. Finally, I turn to him. "How can I help you?" Where the F are these kids' parents? "Hi, can I try the hottest sauce in the store?" Not this S again. I am not dealing with this, not with a 10-year-old kid. I explain to him that the hottest sauce on the table is Hellboy Right Hand of Doom. It's spiked with a 6.66 million Scoville extract, and honestly, if you're not experienced with this kind of stuff, more than just a tiny bit can really mess up a good part of your day. Take my word for it. I explain to him he has to be at least 19 years old to try it and sign a waiver, which is BS, but I'm off in 30 minutes, so F this kid, and instead guide him to a tasty fermented habanero that he coughs his eyes out on before explaining to me that he could handle the right hand of doom because his dad eats spicy peppers with him all the time. Okay, I say. He leaves. Thank God. 15 minutes, I'm interrupted by another customer, this time a gigantic woman in a blue blouse. She's set next to my sample table like a giant blueberry blocking up 20% of my floor space. "Excuse me." Apple doesn't fall far. The customers I'm with are polite and excuse me to speak to her. "You didn't let my son try the sauce." I explain to her that it has extract in it, several hundred times hotter than anything he has ever eaten, and that it can cause him severe discomfort, and that I will not let him try it in my store. I explain that she is free to purchase the sauce and have him try it at home if she so wishes. She explains to me that she married a Mexican man and that I wouldn't believe the things we ate in New Mexico City where he grew up. When I asked what they had eaten there, she told me things hotter than anything we have in the store. At this point, her daughter interrupts our conversation. ISU not. Excuse me! What? I'm getting annoyed. I was annoyed from the second I saw the kid, and now he's back 20 minutes later with 3 of him. Why do you sell Valentina? It's not even a hot sauce. Jesus Christ, aren't you from Mexico? It says effing salsa picante on the goddamned bottle. It's 5:50, I'm off at 6, I've had enough. How about this, you can try the sauce and if it's as mild as you think, I'll let him try it. She agreed and grabbed her sample stick. I reached for the right hand of doom and unscrewed the cap. Its nuclear aroma sending memories of aches to my stomach. As she goes to dip the stick into the sauce, I warn her to only take a small amount. She grins at me and dips the stick all the way into the sauce. Trap card B, she slaps it into her mouth. Immediately, she looks uneasy before she throws herself into pure agony. She is coughing, swinging her head back and forth, trying desperately to speak, but she cannot muster any words. She dropped her sample stick in all the chaos. After a solid few minutes of coughing and dry heaving, she manages a single word. Water. I explained to her that water won't help her now. My relief walked through the door just in time to witness the finish. She tells me that the only reason she is coughing is because it went down the wrong pipe. She then immediately vomits into our garbage can. She apologizes for spitting up, like she didn't just rocket launch half a liter of chum into my trash can and then leaves without saying anything else. I tossed out the trash with a smile on my face and clocked out. That was so dumb. So dumb. And I think that's going to be it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the stories in r/MaliciousCompliance. Let me know what you'd like to listen to next in the comment section below. And also hit that subscribe button because I post new Reddit content every single day. My name is Trey, this was Relo Reacts, and I will see you in the next video.